United States Marine Paul Whelan is still detained in Russia. He was arrested back in Moscow in 2018 while in town for a friend's wedding and was charged with espionage by Russian intelligence officials. Whelan and the United States officials deny those charges. Paul's brother, David Whelan, joins us now to talk about the status of his brother's case. Sir, thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So can you please tell us, when was the last time you heard from your brother, and just how's he doing?
He is able to speak to our parents most days by telephone, and it's probably, as you would expect in a labor colony in Russia, it's not a great existence. It's hot. They don't have very much work now because the sanctions are starting to limit the amount of textiles and buttons that can show up at the labor colony for them to work on. And he's lacking some medicine we sent him because he's either unwilling or unable to pay the bribes to the guards as part of the corruption that exists throughout the prison system.
You know, I've been thinking about your family as there's been sort of more and more attention about Britney Griner's case, and saying to myself, but there's an American, he's been there longer, he's a Marine. And I wondered about just sort of how you feel about all this attention that Britney Griner's case is getting, that, you know, the president made a phone call now. And whether or not it bothers you, or whether or not, you know, more attention on Britney also means more attention on your brother's situation as well.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't bother me. I think you've hit the nail on the head, which is that most wrongful detainee families and wrongful detainees, there are over 50 of us, 50 Americans who are being held around the world, aren't celebrities. We don't have that notoriety. And so we are in a position, for example, the State Department told my family, you need to make more noise to raise awareness about Paul's case. So I do media hits and other activities that are not comfortable for me, but you do what you do for your loved one. And I think the benefit has been certainly for Paul's case, because of Ms. Griner's wrongful detention in Russia, is that her celebrity has helped to raise awareness about Paul's case. And if I may say, her supporters are extraordinarily generous by being very inclusive of mentioning Paul when they mention that Ms. Griner should be freed as well. So I think that that's been very positive. The challenge really, I think, for the families is we do get this mixed message. You know, the White House says on the one hand, presidential calls, presidential meetings are not dispositive. They're not what's going to result in your family member being released. And then they do that for some people and not for others, and it may or may not, you know, actually work out that way. Or we're told to make more noise, and that doesn't seem to make any difference either. So it's frustrating. It's hard to know what we're supposed to be doing and how we can help. And we need to be doing something to help our loved ones.
Yeah, you know, David, you raise a good point. And I note that in her letter to the president, Britney Griner did mention the other detainees. And so you're right, calling attention to her plight is also calling attention to your brother's plight and other Americans who are being held around the world. But I also wonder, you know, it's interesting, Anne-Marie and David, when we initially, when Britney Griner was detained, there was a sense that perhaps we shouldn't make too much noise to not make this situation for her and other detainees like your brother more difficult. But recently, her wife has come out very vocally, as has Britney, because they've noticed that nothing has happened when they've remained quiet. And we just learned that, of course, that the president did talk to Britney Griner's wife. So the question for you is, when was the last time you or someone in your family heard from a member of the Biden administration? Have you heard from the president himself, and what did they tell you?
No, our family has never heard from the president, either President Trump or President Biden. And there are detainees who have been under 3 presidents now, and I'm sure have probably not heard from any of them either. We've been very fortunate since the beginning of the Biden administration. There has been far more outreach. I mean, it was literally radio silence, both publicly and privately, from the Trump administration. So we've had much more interaction with the Biden administration. And I think it was June 22nd, Secretary Blinken had another call with about 40 or 50 families of wrongful detainees. Again, reinforcing that these cases are a priority, that they are working on them. And the difficulty then for the families is, well, what does that actually mean? And not only what does it mean to all of us, but what does it mean to Paul Whelan's family, to what are you doing to get Paul Whelan out of Russia?
What is your take, and you spoke a little bit about this, when it comes to the Justice Department's policies when it comes to unlawful detainees in Russia?
I obviously haven't spoken to anybody in the Department of Justice about it. It sounds to me like they're opposed to helping wrongful detained Americans, which sounds like a policy position that doesn't make sense for the U.S. government, any part of the U.S. government, to take. So I don't understand why they would have that opposition to helping. If it's not that they don't want to help, but they just have certain particular things that they don't want to do, I sort of understand that. They're dealing with one of the most corrupt governments, the Russian government, in the world. Surely there is some concession that the Department of Justice can sign on to, that the other agencies can sign on to, that the U.S. government can give to bring Americans home, to bring Paul, to bring Britney Griner when she's been convicted and sentenced and gone through that whole process. There's got to be something that the U.S. government can do.
Yeah. Well, David Whelan, we appreciate you taking the time out because we know it's not easy for you. And anything we can do to draw attention to your brother's case, we are more than happy to do. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.